Hey guys, welcome to this podcast. In case you haven't noticed, my lips aren't matching up with the audio. And there's a very good reason for that, because when I recorded, we lost it. Fuck. So this is going to be a super scuffed first episode of the podcast, and I apologize for that. I should have checked. That's on me. But yeah. Welcome to KB on the Beat, your new podcast for all things music, games, and entertainment. And I made a stupid joke about the political and economic state of the world right now because I thought that would be funny. But yeah, I am one of your hosts, Ben Wilbers, and my other host is
Keaton, Brightwell. Just a couple of goofy nerds who wanted to say fuck it and start a podcast. And
yeah, so we grew up around the same area as each other, literally like right next to each other. But surprisingly, we have very interesting, very different takes from each other on things related to music and games and all kinds of things like that. And honestly, we just thought it would be a good idea to start a podcast and kind of just talk about all those differences that we have. Because, you know, we're just dudes being dudes, chilling out and relaxing, you know? And now I'm going to let Keaton talk about himself.
Right for you, for a trumpet player. So, obviously I'm Keaton Brightwell. I've always had interest in doing podcasts, but true crime never really was my thing because I'm not dedicated enough for that, and don't really have the time for that. I'm a complete nerd, and I'm constantly drinking some sort of zero sugar root beer. Not even just root beer, like Dr. Pepper, whatever. Because I don't want to die. Most of the time. Anyways, I play saxophone, the superior instrument of the two of us.
Incredibly debatable. But to all my friends coming from the Venue Music Playlist community that we have, which if you're not involved with that, check out those guys. Just check out their music and stuff, especially Saxman, like what I'm showing over there. Phenomenal music and just great stuff overall, especially everybody from the group is great. So yeah, just check them out.
Yeah, I listen to pop, rap, indie music. I'm not much on the metal game, but I've been told I need to get into it. And then country sometimes, I've kind of strayed away from that unless I'm really just wanting to cry myself to sleep at night, which is not very often. And what's some random fact about me? I'm 6'7".
Yeah, here I called him a freak, but not a freak in bed. Like, just a tall freak.
How do you know not in the bed? You're an adult. I'm a minor.
I eventually regretted making that joke.
No, you shouldn't have.
I also soon found out that you can see our Discord usernames. And whoopsie!
No, it's not. We're fine. No one's gonna see this, probably. Hopefully. I mean, you never know. Maybe we'll hit it big because we're just two nerds. Now, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Alright, I'm gonna try and get this recording in one take. So, I am Ben Wilbers. I am the other host of this. I am in college right now, finishing up my first year, studying music and business because I want to get a job in really anything, just a good paying job in stuff I'm passionate about and things I love. I make music under the name of The Fallen Incarnates. If you guys are from that Venue Playlist community, then you will know me by that. It's whatever kind of music I want to make, all wrapped up into just a big little place. So it's mostly rock, metal, and hip-hop,
really good.
But I'm working on pop, I'm working on country, I'm working on gospel, I'm working on all kinds of different music because music is my passion. But outside of that music I make up here in college, I play trumpet. I've been playing it for a really long time. Very thankful for everybody up here to help me continue my musicianship and my excellency. So, yeah, please, going back to my music, please check out my music. Please check out The Fallen Incarnates. That would be awesome. I'll leave a link to it in the description below.
And yeah, that's pretty much mostly about everything you need to know about me. Um, so while we're here introducing each other, why don't we just talk about our top 5 favorite albums? This will come in use later on in the podcast, but just kind of want to feel like that'd be good to introduce us and get to know us a little bit more. So why don't you start with this?
All right, so I'm gonna list all 5 of them in descending order, and then we can talk about each one. So my number 1 album. From
number
5 to
1.
1.
Okay,
5 to 1.
there.
Yeah, sorry.
5 to 1. Okay,
5
okay,
to 1.
cool.
So my number 5 right
No,
now is Mayhem. My number 4 is GNX by Kendrick Lamar, and Mayhem is by Lady Gaga. My number 3 is the Marshall Mathers LP by Eminem. My number 2 is a tie between Folklore and Evermore, which are Taylor Swift albums. And then my number 1 is probably Midnight by Taylor Swift.
Understandable.
Yeah. So, what questions do you have for me about those? So,
So how come? Well, I guess Folklore and Evermore kind of like sister albums, to speak. But if you had to pick one of those two rest of your life, which one would it be? And you don't get the other one ever again.
I don't get the other one. So I feel like for that, I will have to really just condense down to the tops of the albums, the goods of the albums, and then the only okays, because neither of the albums have a truly bad song.
I would agree.
The best from each album, the best off of Folklore is Cardigan, for sure. How it sounds, how everything flows together. And then the best stuff of Evermore actually has my favorite Taylor Swift song, Willow.
Oh, yeah, that was a good song. I did like that.
So I'd probably have to take Evermore. Because it has a lot more of those songs where it's just like, it hits you. And especially for the time in my life, whenever I first listened to it, it was just a very heartfelt experience. Because I probably listened to it fully for the first time like a year ago. Obviously, I'd listened to songs, but I'd never just sat and listened. And some of the songs they incorporate what I feel. Like, one of the songs, Dorothea, it mentions it's like skipping, like it's about a high schooler basically, and it's like skipping prom to piss off your mom. Like, that's things that I would probably do. Not proud of that. Sorry, Mom, if you ever see this. Because
if you ever find this,
which you probably won't, I'm sorry for the things you're going to hear. And then there's songs like Coney Island and Champagne Problems where it's just heart-wrenching.
Yeah, those were really emotional songs. I told Keaton about this. He was the first one to know about this, but over my spring break, I listened to every single Taylor Swift album that happened within the span of a week.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit impressed.
Yeah, I did that. I had started whenever I was over at your place, and we just we had played the Tortured Poets Department on vinyl. That was a lot of fun. It wasn't a bad album, honestly. It was just like a middle of the road, like a C tier at most, like solid C. Like, it just dragged on a little bit, but it kind of just kept the same vibes, didn't really do much else, but I still kind of liked it, honestly.
Yeah. And that definitely goes down to personal preference. Because I obviously love all of her albums. Not equally. She did not make them all equal. Debut, unfortunately, needed some love because it's a little too country for me.
Yeah, Debut was a little bit unfortunate. I mean, I like country, but that just felt too much like a Carrie Underwood album or like a different country girl album and not a Taylor Swift album.
Exactly.
Damn, sad.
So
also, here's a question.
No,
here's
go
a
ahead.
question for you. You put GNX above To Pimp a Butterfly or Good Kid, Mad City?
So I actually haven't listened to that one, but To Pimp a Butterfly,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I loved it. But there's something about GNX, specifically my favorites off of that album, Luther, Squabble Up, obviously Peekaboo. Basically, the entire album, it's full of really good songs.
Yeah.
Then there are some songs off To Pimp a Butterfly that I was like, well, this just doesn't hit me as hard.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike GNX, where every song felt up to date, because some of the messages in To Pimp a Butterfly were very much for the time when it was made.
Right, I would agree with that.
And then GNX has like modern day issues in it because it came out like 4 months ago, 5 months.
Yeah, but honestly, yeah, I think my first listen of To Pimp a Butterfly, I kind of had the same issues as you, and I did put it below GNX. But the more I kind of listened back to some of the songs, the more I'm like, this does kind of hold up. I'm starting to pull in Anthony Fantano, where like I was a fan of it, I did like it, but not as much as I am now. To Good Kid, Mad City, still my favorite Kendrick album, but this is getting up. This is starting to get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what about you? What are your top fives?
Right. Well, this is going to be very evident with my first album, mad different from Keaton's. My number 5 album is Back in Black by AC/DC.
Okay, that's actually fair.
I can't make this up. Back in Black has so many good hits, like Hell's Bells, You Shook Me All Night Long, Give Me the Dog a Bone. So many like AC/DC classics. And a lot of people are like, oh, AC/DC is so overrated. They just make the same song over and over. Admittedly, they do. But this era of AC/DC, it just felt right for AC/DC in the times and that genre of music. So also not the main reason I like the album, but I share a birthday with it, just like a 20-year difference.
Yeah.
So it has a special place in my heart because of that. But anyways, that's Back in Black. My number 4 spot is a more recent album, still kind of on the rock side though. It is Forever by Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi's most recent album. That is a very hot topic, I believe, in the Bon Jovi fandom, because now I don't think a whole lot of people like it, and commercially, it is probably their weakest. But you cannot tell me that songs like Legendary, Living Proof, Hollow Man, We Made It Look Easy have quality production, some of the best lyricism that Bon Jovi has ever done. And just the production is so clean, and it really just gives off the vibes of like really truly I believe what they were trying to do with this is they're older now and kind of reflecting upon their life kind of sort of thing with that album. And that was just so sweet to me. I like that. And especially songs like Kiss the Bride. Such a heartbreaking song, but it was great.
Yeah.
So that was that. Number 3 spot, my only hip hop album to hit my top 5. My only one. And some people really don't like this one, but I do. Hollywood's Bleeding by Post Malone.
Oh my, yeah.
My top 5 is so messed up, but I love people I feel like don't really understand. Well, they do understand Post Malone, but they don't like him as much as I do. Especially this album. A lot of people say it's like a hodgepodge of different stuff just kind of thrown together in this like sort of messy thing because you got songs like Circles, obviously, and then On the Road with Meek Mill and Little Baby, and then the song with Travis Scott and Ozzy Osbourne, and a bunch of different vibes on. And how can I forget? Oh fuck, I already forgot it. Anyways,
is it the one with Doja Cat?
No, the one with Spider-Man. That one was off 12 Karat Toothache. The one from Spider-Man.
Sunflower.
Sunflower, yeah. How can I forgot Sunflower, but how can you forget Sunflower? That one is an icon, but I love the different styles on the album, and it really shows Post Malone's versatility. And I'm really happy that this album came out, especially because it shows that versatility, and also just has good vibe. Like you're in Hollywood, you're watching a movie, you're listening to a production in the works in Hollywood. It's something that I really enjoyed about it. My number 2 spot is going to be Awake by Skillet. This, I don't think any of those songs off their miss. Obviously, you got Monster and you got Hero, but
Mm-hmm.
Should Have When You Could Have. Never Surrender is probably my favorite track off that album. Lucy was a heartbreaking way to end the album, but it's it's definitely Skillet is a Christian rock band, but it feels less like the Christian rock and more just like a rock band trying to be Christian while also doing the things that people love about rock bands. And they're heavy. They are very heavy in a lot of the tracks. But yeah. And then my all-time favorite album is ironically not a metal track, not a metal album, kind of a rock album, a little bit more country. Cracked Rear View by Hootie and the Blowfish. Not a lot of people know this album, but this is a 1994 classic. I saw you smiling at the name.
I
Was
was
it Hootie and the
like,
Blowfish?
yeah,
Yeah,
you've
go
talked
figure.
about it.
I've talked about it. I don't think I've ever like put that disc in my car with you around, but we need to do that. I need to get you on this album. It does a lot of things that I feel like other albums should do. Is it starts off like fast and heavy and like really upbeat, and then slowly like turns into like a sad, sad song. Like it starts off with Hannah Jane, Only Want to Be With You, Hold My Hand, bunch of upbeat songs, and then slowly gets into songs like Not Even the Trees, Look Away, Goodbye. It's very emotional and heartbreaking songs. And honestly, it holds a special place in my heart. It's been there for me in really dark times in my life, and I will never forget all the love that I have for this album and everything that the album's done for me.
Yeah. And I feel like that really loops into how music is therapy for some people in your darkest times, in the best days you have, or your worst. You'll always be able
Right.
to listen to music. And one thing that I always feel like no one points out about concerts, actually, is that if
Oh,
you see a song in concert, you will always associate those songs with that night.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
every time I hear an Eric Church song called Pledge Allegiance to the Hag, about like, yes, I know, it's about old country singers and like,
Yeah.
and
That
how
that
he like,
album,
yeah.
that song wasn't on Chief, was it? I can't
That
remember. Was
one
that
was
on Chief?
on Sinners Like Me. That was one of his
Sinners Like
like
Me. Okay.
early songs. It's on his debut album. And
Ah, okay. I see.
it was, I always think about how he had a huge American flag hanging in the banisters, and whenever he played that song, it like dropped down. And this had to be
Hmm.
like a 50-foot tall American flag.
Dang.
And I was pit, so I was right up on the stage, like, and every time I hear that, I think of just how everybody was like, I forgot the struggles of the world for like 5 minutes. That's honestly how it felt because everybody
Yeah.
was just unified under music, which
Mhm.
shows what it can
That's
do for people.
Mhm. That's good. That's really nice. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Kind of a similar instance. Last year, I went and saw Def Leppard, Journey, and Cheap Trick in stadium at the, their stadium concert at Busch Stadium. And Journey came on. They played their song. Well, they played a bunch of really good songs, but one that they played was Open Arms. I have a very special connection to that song. It's one of the few songs that like actually had me bawling the first couple times I listened to it. I heard that live and I couldn't stop crying. Like,
Yeah.
because it reminds me a lot of things that happened to me, especially late 2021, and just regrets and stuff that I had. So it felt good hearing that live, remembering not necessarily remembering everything, but just having just hearing it once again, seeing how much I've improved mentally
Yeah.
from this.
Going off of songs we've cried listening to, this is a very interesting topic for a first episode, but Very depressing. But this one's a little more lighthearted. See You Again. By Wiz
How could you
Khalifa and
not
Charlie
cry
Puth.
to See You Again?
How
could you not cry?
That was played at my grandpa's funeral, actually. That was the first song. And I told myself I wouldn't cry, and I was like, well, god damn it. I started laughing when I heard it because I knew I was going to break down. And then 20 minutes later, they played Prop Me Up Beside the Jukebox as his closing song. So that was a weird mix of emotions.
Very weird, yeah.
But it specifically, I'm moving up in the world. I unplugged my phone. It's just, now those songs are ingrained in my memory for that. And it's a weird mix of emotions.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And it just shows how much music impacts people. Like, nothing else had me crying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't cry when I see other people cry, but music
will make
me cry.
Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. So, now that we're kind of at a standstill, let me pull up my screen. I've got a little thing that I want to try out with you.
So, random story while we're getting this sorted. If you don't want to keep this in, that's fine. But I went and saw the Minecraft movie today.
Chicken Jockey.
And I will say it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Huh.
I thought it was going to be
mixed reviews.
Horrible. But it was actually pretty entertaining.
That's good.
Editor Ben here. So for our people on YouTube watching the video, heads up, you're not going to be able to watch it for a good chunk of it. Why? Well, you're looking at it. It's stuck on that frame. I apologize. Like, I really do. This is such a scuffed recording, but it was so much fun doing this, I just had to put it out.
So, I put all of our top 5 albums in this little tournament style, and we're going to have a little chat about it. Just talk about it. These are all kinds of messed up order, but that doesn't really matter. We'll just talk about it how it is. So, let's start off. Why don't we start off with this one over here? Evermore or Cracked Rear View?
I'm obviously a little biased.
We're both going to be a little bit biased, but that's why we're here to debate. That's why we're here to talk about it. So, also, he's still here, just in case I didn't cut this out. He's still here. It's just not letting me show his screen for some reason, but he's still here.
Yeah,
in case you couldn't hear him. So like, I did like Evermore when I listened to it, I will admit. Though I did like Folklore a little bit more. I did like Folklore more.
I feel like a majority of people do.
Yeah. It's just that vibe that Folklore had was just really good. And we can all agree, like, for some reason, it's probably because I've listened to like 300 albums in my life. For some reason, I just can't. I gotta look at the track. I'll look at the track list in a second, but Evermore's got definitely some great songs. I do remember that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Cracked Rear View. It's just, well, let me just pull up. Let me go to YouTube and let me
nice
pop
background.
Out
I didn't know you were a Kingdom Hearts fan.
Oh yeah, I love Kingdom Hearts. Like,
the story was too confusing for me, but I 100%ed Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts 3, I think, is probably the weakest of the series, but it's the only one I've played, so
yeah.
Let's see here. So we got this track list here. Oh, you know what? Oh. Yeah, I'm going home. We're going to do this one. Let me play
allowed to do this?
Oh, yeah. They won't care for somebody like us. Plus, we can only, if we play like a little snippet of it, it should be fine, so.
Just like 5 seconds. Not even.
Ready. Maybe, but plus I think since it's a podcast, it really doesn't matter because I see other podcasts all the time, like do whole album streams, album reviews. We listen to the whole album.
Oh,
so
yeah, true.
It should be okay. Okay, let me start this over. So I got this pulled up. This is one of my favorite tracks off the album. I'm going home and just like give it a listen. Just give this a listen. Wait, can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mama, please don't go. Won't you stay here for one more day? I've been your boy for so long now. There's so much I still have to say. Sky ripped open and I held my heart in my hand.
I love this track so much.
Mm-hmm.
Just the simple instrumentals, and obviously Darius's voice.
Yeah.
I think that's all I'm gonna play for now, just for the sake of probably not getting sued. So, but
Hopefully.
yeah, hopefully. But that's really like the whole point of why I love this album, because just it's a lot of the tracks have such simple like instrumentals, but they're so good.
Yeah.
But obviously, Evermore was also a really good album. So
Yeah.
honestly, just honestly, yeah.
Yeah. I'll dive into that a little deeper. It was so hearing I'm gonna kind of quote the woman who wrote it herself. It was her second COVID album. So it was very, I don't want to say bleak. No, it is a little darker.
It definitely is dark.
And like, so how with Folklore, she had 3 songs. She had Betty, she had August, and she had Cardigan. And they made a little story with them. She made a story with the characters about a love triangle, and all 3 of the characters, Betty, James, and Inez, who is kind of a side character, are named after Ryan Reynolds' children. Just a little fun fact there. But Evermore is more like almost dark, mysterious, like, whereas with Folklore, she felt like she was a elfish woman, kind of what she said, like just wandering the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Evermore is like she's a witch, like with a coven, being dark and mysterious and all that. Because there are tracks like Willow, where in the performance for Willow on the Eras tour, she was quite literally dressed as a witch. And the whole thing was a witch thing. And then there's songs like Champagne Problems and Dorothea and Coney Island that strike just deep emotional tones, where Champagne Problems is almost like she scorned an ex-lover and it really just fucked that guy up.
Yeah. And no kidding.
He was just depressed, but then she felt guilty almost. The story of just how she hopes he can find that person, she just wasn't it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The dark mysteriousness of living in that COVID-ridden world, it was going around, obviously, a lot.
Right, yeah.
And she really had to innovate with how she wrote music and how she collaborated. And it's a very interesting process. So I think it just really just changed the music, how music was done, because a lot of artists weren't putting music out at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of mainstays weren't. And it was purely because they didn't have the ability to.
Mm-hmm.
She said, fuck that, and decided, I'm going to write not one, but 2 full-length albums and try something she had never tried before. And both albums won Grammys.
Yeah, that is true. Those albums did win a lot of great stuff. And yeah, honestly, Evermore is a really good album. I will say to that though, I think it as a given, Folklore, a lot of people like that more, but Evermore definitely has like a special place in obviously like people like you and a lot of other people's hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And just the work that she put into it was really good as compared to like some of her other albums. Like Reputation, I would like it's a pretty good album. Like definitely experimental, but not quite what I was expecting from her.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't know how to feel about it. Like it was good, but it was a little odd. Evermore was really, really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. And with that said, I kind of just want to go back to Cracked Rearview real quick because this is like this is a debate between the albums. Cracked Rearview, like I think within the first couple months went gold. I think also Diamond as well, like really quick. It was a surprising skyrocket for the band because this was their first album.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really think any other album that they made has compared or come even close to how good Cracked Rearview was.
Yeah.
Plus, like just again, everything about like the way it's laid out and a lot of the topics on Cracked Rearview. It talks a lot of songs like Drowning sort of talk about racism and just like awful people and like heartbreak and stuff. So it dives a lot into deep, deep things and dark things. But yeah, I don't know. This is really tough. Both of these albums are good.
I will say how that delves into the deep aspects of everything. And I'll actually do something very similar how you compared Reputation. I'll compare it to something like 1989, where it was obviously her first fully pop album. Like, Red was kind of pop, but it still had the country aspects. But then she went full pop with 1989. And I kind of despise the original 1989 because of how she felt behind the scenes about it. Like, that was
Yeah,
a
that's
time in her
fair.
life she was starving herself. She was going through a lot. And she unfortunately was like the reason she didn't smile for the original 1989 cover, it was like a Polaroid and it said Taylor Swift in the corner and it had 1989 written on it in Sharpie, but the Polaroid was of her upper body and barely any of her face was in it and she wasn't smiling. And the reason she did that was because she hated how she looked because of how people told her how she looked.
Yeah.
And that really points out just how messed up the industry is. But then you go to something like Evermore, where the music is nowhere near as upbeat and happy, but how she felt behind the scenes about it, she was
felt
thriving.
so much better about
She felt really good about it. Obviously, she's not perfect. None of us are. And it's kind of explained in her song, The Archer from Lover. It's how she's dealing with the anxiety and the everything that goes along within the music industry about anxiety and how it's just a tough place to be, especially during a pandemic. Like, she was able to fully commit to making these albums, which is kind of why they are so high for me. It's because of how she persevered through everything and she did it. And yeah, I just think it's very interesting. But there's more topics I'll go into in depth whenever we go over Midnights.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So let's come to a decision. Let's pick between these two. And then we can talk about Midnights and Awake, which is the next one. Ooh, I'm really excited to talk about that one. Cracked Review is always going to hold a special place in my heart, obviously. Like, listening to that album gave me the courage to write music. So, obviously, I'm going to put it at number one. Going to love it forever. With that said, though, everything that you've talked about with Evermore and Folklore and a lot of her stuff, for once, I think, and this is going to suck, but I may put Evermore above it. I may let Evermore go.
All right. I like that decision. I do think that Cracked Rear View, though, with what I've heard of it, it's a very recognizable sound while still innovating on the sound that I know.
Oh yes.
Because country, people say it's very just stagnant and it always sounds the same, which isn't necessarily true. But
not
that
true in a lot of circumstances.
it had the country sound while still changing it. So I do see why that could be a number one, but I do agree with Evermore, just where it was and what it did.
Okay. Yeah, that works. Next time I'm home, we gotta pop in Crack Rear View. We gotta listen to the full album. Just because I don't think you've experienced the full album around me. So we gotta do that because I love it so much. But we're gonna go Evermore compared to Crack Rear View. Hurts me, but it's fair. All right, our next one. Awake versus Midnights. I love Awake so freaking much. Obviously not a top album for me. It's number 2 in my 5, but production and a lot of juxtaposition in the album as well. Like, let me pull up the track list real quick. Let me see here. Let me pull up that track list. But it's got a lot of awesome juxtaposition with the songs right next to each other. No. So we got the first 2 tracks, Hero and then Monster. And then shut up. Shut up. Good God. Okay. Then we got Hero versus Monster, which kind of deals with that idea of needing a savior while also being that monster that people shut up.
Yeah, you're gonna get copyright.
I'm gonna play a song in a second, but geez, not right now. I'm in the middle of explaining something, Mr. John Cooper. But yeah, that sort of idea of needing a savior while also still being the monster, I like that idea. And then Don't Wake Me and Awaken Alive. That was just a great idea, because you got the idea of not wanting to wake up from the dream that you're in, and then immediately after waking up and realizing that dream was not great. It was an awful place. I don't want to be there anymore. And I'm glad that I'm awake and I'm alive and I know what it's like to be alive inside, and a bunch of stuff like that. And then obviously, great tracks. Never Surrender. Oh, that's the deluxe edition. Never listened to that. Forgiven. Forgiven is good. But let me play you just the intro of Never Surrender, and you will know why this is probably my favorite album. You've listened to Monster, right? You've known that song?
Definitely.
I feel it deeper than.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so let me play Never Surrender for you.
Yeah.
This song reminds me of 2022 when I first listened to this album. You know where I was back in 2022. Not a good headspace, but at the time I thought it was a great headspace. But this album and everything behind it, really this album means to me, it shows love. Shows how awesome love is and the greatness and awesomeness of love and everything that love does in the best way. Because I got this as a gift from someone who will remain unnamed for now, but this album struck such a chord with me because we both loved this band, and everything about just the production and the quality of it for me was really good, and also the topics on the tracks, and just it was just so special to me that we both loved something. And obviously Never Surrender takes me back to that time where obviously, yes, it sucked being in it towards the end of our relationship, but I was happy for a time. Again, I'll keep her unnamed for now, but again, great track. Reminds me of a lot of good things. Well, bad things, but also good things at that time. I'm gonna shut the fuck up about that because I'm talking too much about it. Please talk about Midnights.
Okay, so this is Taylor Swift's like full, rather than going full on indie like Folklore Evermore, or going into like full on synth pop, she kind of blends them here. It's a very, if you want to pull up the track list for this one, that would actually be very helpful.
Yeah.
And it would be the Till Dawn edition is the one I need pulled up.
Midnights. The Till Dawn edition.
Yeah.
That was great. I will say that was just shut up. Don't please ad blocker, don't play another song.
Do you want to scroll down for me real fast just to make sure that everything's there? I don't think everything's there. Yeah, no, it's not.
This is not the Till Dawn edition.
Wait, that might be it on the side.
This is it right here. Cool. All right.
Oh god, those 2 seconds might have just gotten us sued.
Please, Taylor Swift, don't sue us. We're saying good
I love
things
you.
About your music.
I will actually do anything to not be sued by you. So
Question is my favorite song off this album. Real quick and interject. Question is my favorite song off this album.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I actually Question is one of the songs that I feel is slept on the most. I really like it. But anyways, just starting overall before we get into specifics. This was her, obviously you can see the cover of the album is her with the eyeshadow holding a lighter, and it's lit directly in front of her. Which I have recreated that photo, but I will not be sharing that because it's cringy. But and I feel like that really helps push the tone of what this album was. The base album is 13 songs, which 13 is her lucky number. And also, it's been my lucky number for the past 12 years of my life, which is kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
But she recalled that this album was based off of 13 sleepless nights almost. How she just thought she's had while laying in bed awake, not being able to sleep. And I feel like Lavender Haze is actually a great place to start with that.
Lavender Haze.
That's the one that you're currently on. She says, the opening line of the song is staring at the ceiling with you. You don't really talk too much, and you don't really read into my melancholia. So she's just she's here with this person, which it's obviously just unnamed person, and I'm not gonna name the person who it may not be about because we don't like him anymore.
We don't like that guy. I know who he is. We don't like him.
We don't like him.
I'm not a Swiftie, but we don't like him.
We don't like him. And how it's just you're in this haze of ecstasy almost. She's just let me do my thing. I don't want this 1950 shit that you guys are asking for me. Married with 2 kids, being a housewife. Fuck that. She's just let me do my music, be in my space, and jam to this. And then moving on, I believe the second track is Maroon, which...
Yeah, Maroon.
This song holds a space in my heart because the bridge of it is, she says, and I'll wait with your memory over me. That's a real fucking legacy to leave. Just showing that
was
leaving this legacy in her life and with these people. And it's specifically about her friends and the people close to her. And just how she spends time with them. And how she feels about it. how one night she ended up drunk with her friends and she just woke up on the floor. That's like how she basically opens it. It's like, it's because you got wine drunk and you were with your friends, the people you loved most, and you're just spending time with these people. And then it goes to the bad side of relationships and how, like, you could just be crying and how like shit always ends like that. And then we automatically go from a deep song like that to Anti-Hero.
Anti-Hero.
Which, obviously, the music video is fucking hilarious. And if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. Because she has a beach house turned into a cat sanctuary. Which is pretty damn funny. But how she's just like... Funny. She feels like this is what people see of her. People think she is the problem in her life. And how she's just like, fuck off. Let me do this. Like, she feels like other people and her even just thinking she is the problem. And how she needs to fix it. Snow on the Beach. Oh, go on. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, really, it's not Taylor's fault at all. She's not like a villain at all in this. It's I'm not a Swiftie, but I know enough about Taylor Swift to be talking about this. So you Swifties, don't come after me. Don't leak my IP address, because I do like Taylor Swift, not as much as a lot of other artists though. But I will say she definitely did not deserve the treatment that she got from a lot of people around her in the industry, and industry is just messed up. That's why as much as I like making music, I don't really trust a lot of people in the industry, because I don't think I'd ever end up like something that she went through, but they do awful things to their talent. Yeah. She is very talented.
Oh, we're actually going to skip Snow on the Beach, and we're going to talk about 3 other songs specifically with You're on Your Own, Kid. Which, obviously, with the title, you can understand. It's the 5th track. You just, like...
Oh, 5th track.
It's track 5.
Okay. Yeah.
It is, in my opinion, the best song on the album. That is officially on the album, at least.
Mm-hmm. Right, yes.
And she's just talking about times in her life where she's this big star and how she feels like she's alone. But she's surrounded by all these people. She's surrounded by friends and family. But she feels alone. She's like... Obviously, one of the biggest lines in it is she takes all of the sadness that come with some of the lyrics and she morphs it almost. She's like, I've thrown parties, I've starved my body, thinking she would be saved. But then later in that same bridge, she says, make the friendship bracelets, take the moment and taste it. You've got no reason to be afraid. Just really reflecting on the fact that all of the fear, it's not... We don't need it. And that actually is the reason I have a huge friendship bracelet collection in my gaming room that I barely wear because I get made fun of for it. And I need to just say fuck them, but really, yeah.
Exactly.
And then the next one we're going to talk about is Vigilante Shit, which I believe you said was your least favorite on this album.
It was either that one or Karma, because I don't like...
Yeah, the version without Ice Spice is way better.
Yeah, without her is way better.
And
I'm stupid. I can't find... Oh, it's right here. There we go.
So Vigilante Shit. I feel like you need to understand this one. It's not about a boy. It's about her old record label, actually. And the people who were taking her money, and she's like, you know what? Like, I'm going to take control of my life. Like, I'm not going to start it, but I will end things. And, like, how she is the boss of her own life. She'll go full on vigilante mode and cut ties with you and sue you and remake all of her old albums just to spite you. Which
I feel like it's good for her to, like, in spite of them, and like to finally get her own earnings from, like, full credit for that as compared to previously, where I believe she wasn't getting a lot from her.
They were taking a lot of her money.
Taking a lot from her. So I think that's a good thing. But also, this was kind of like whenever she started reposting, doing all the Taylor's versions of her albums, a lot of small artists like me said, this is kind of like at the time I didn't understand why she was doing it. So I was like, this is taking away from an audience I could be building. But now that I've like truly started to understand why she did it, I mean, I'm not mad that she did it. Very good on her. But during that time, it was just hard for me to build an audience. And I think honestly that may be a little bit as to why Midnight's is not one of my favorite albums, because that kind of started. It was around this time she started that, I believe, right? Fact check me on that.
A year before, she started with
Year before.
Fearless and Red. And then the year after she released Midnight, she released another 2, and then this year she's releasing another 2.
Right, yes. So
her final 2. So after this year, there will be no more Taylor's versions.
Good. Because not good in the sense of no more of them, because they're good, but also like she's finally getting everything as hers and not theirs. So just kind of wanted to bring that up as maybe one of the reasons why I might not like Midnight so much, but also like I understand coming from a artist to a Taylor Swift fan, I completely understand why she would do something like that. Yeah. But anyways, please continue.
And then actually the final song isn't even officially on the album, even though it does almost take inspiration from the thing. It's called You're Losing Me. And it is a heartbreaking song. I've actually seen YouTube posts about how these people are listening to it and they understand what she's saying, and they are like, they break down all of the things that are said. Like the bridge of the song, she says like, I'm the best thing at this party, but you're losing me. I wouldn't marry me either. I'm a pathological people pleaser. Just total, just heartbreaking things about a relationship that is sadly falling apart. And how he won't do anything to fix it, and she's been giving everything to this, and just really trying to fix all these cracks and everything, but she can't fix it, and it's a heart-wrenching song.
Very heartbreaking, yeah.
Then
it's one of the deepest songs that I've listened to by her, and it's really good.
Throughout all of these, there's this overarching theme of anxiety and not necessarily depression, but just that feeling of feeling like you're alone in this industry. Because songs like High Infidelity and Paris and The Great War and Mastermind point out how people feel about big artists. Like Mastermind, it's like Blank Space in a way where she wrote it as mocking people. She wrote Blank Space to mock people for thinking she's a serial dater. And she wrote Mastermind to mock people who are saying that she's cold and calculated and she only does stuff for money, which is obviously not true.
Not true, no.
And these deeper meanings in her songs just push the needle or push the docket into a almost space where she is letting off all of this emotion. She released the album, and instantly people were like, she's changing genres again. She's doing this just to inflate herself, make herself bigger, more popular, which it is just an unfortunate side effect of what you have to do as a woman in the music industry. The only person who I've seen stay in the industry and stay popular is Beyonce. And let's face it, her new album sucked.
Thank you. Her new album is awful. It should any award.
Oh my goodness. She only has enough staying power in the industry because of who she is and what she's accomplished. Not because of what she is still making today.
I know. Like, her music now is not good. Haven't listened to any of her stuff before, but that should not have won Country Album of the Year, let alone Album of the Year. But she's too powerful. Somebody like her should not have this much power in the industry.
No.
It should be distributed amongst every artist, not in a sort of communist way, but like in a way where like everybody has like an equal say and they can like get their points across to the big corpos and all that. But like it's just so dumb how somebody like Beyonce can have so much power, have so much control over the industry and over everything. It's so
exactly.
dumb.
And that's kind of how she wrote Mastermind. People thinking she was too much, too good, and like she didn't deserve it almost. So she wrote Mastermind like, oh, you knew the whole time I'm just doing this for myself, but I'm still controlling every single one of you. And it's a very impressive song. And overall, the album just has these heart-wrenching moments.
Ahead.
And
I am always 2 steps ahead.
Exactly.
Sorry.
No, you're right, though. Like, it has these heart-wrenching moments, and then it has these upbeat, like, anti-hero, and it has, like, a lot of them are heartbreaking. But then there are songs that really just invoke her being who she is. Just a snarky, childless cat lady who watches 700 hours of TV a day. Like, the words came out of her mouth, not mine.
They did, yeah.
So, I feel like that's all I have to say about Midnights. It's just how it pushed her outwards.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's very fair to say about Midnights. Personally, it's not, for me, it's not one of her weakest albums, but it's definitely not as strong as a lot of her other projects. But everything that like she went through during this time definitely plays an impact on a lot of the writing and a lot of the stuff. And I think that's just great. It's just great.
Yeah.
So, but we gotta pick Awake or Midnights. I will say Awake was riding an absolute high because they had just released before that they had just released their other album Comatose, which is also another 10. And then Collide before that, a lot of people say it's a 10. Personally, not as much. I think it's good, but okay. But I love that despite that it was riding the high of Comatose, but it feels different. A lot of bands can't really do that. Like I'm going to throw Linkin Park in as an example. When they released Hybrid Theory, that was an immediate success. And immediately after that, they released Meteor, which is also a huge success, but it has a lot of vibes of Hybrid Theory that almost kind of take away, not necessarily take away from the album per se, but they just feel similar at times. And sometimes you forget which track was on which album. Whereas Awake doesn't have that problem at all. Yeah. Plus, with how commercially successful this album is, especially with Monster, like, it's just... I don't know what the fuck I just did, but what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
We had to take a little bit of a break because of some stuff, and also the scuffed audio is back, so I apologize.
And I think right before we had to take our break, we were about to decide, after all the information, which one is gonna win this one. I will take Awake.
This completely blew my fucking mind.
Just because Skillet, I personally don't listen to a lot of Skillet, but just because of what I know they meant to a lot of people. And Midnights is also one of Taylor Swift's not so highly regarded in the public eye. It's my favorite Taylor Swift album right now. But that just might be because of how I'm feeling personally in life. So, yeah. I agree. Awake.
Yeah, I was fucking speechless when he did this shit.
To any Swifties watching this, don't come at me, please.
He's one of you. You can't hate him, but he made a good choice.
Yeah, I will stand by the fact that Taylor is incredible. It's just that in the battle of the albums, I know when to take my losses.
Suck it, nerds. Rock will never die. But now we're getting into a really kind of heated talk. GNX versus Hollywood's Bleeding by Post Malone.
So everybody on the globe at this point knows that GNX has some of Kendrick's best work on it. It has Whacked Out Murals, Squabble Up, Luther, like.
Forgot what I said, so I'm gonna sing. If it was up to
Is Not Like Us like an adopted? Do we just want to count Not Like Us like it's adopted by GNX?
The rap beef between Kendrick and
Because it's not
Drake was kind of like
part
a
of the album.
precursor to GNX.
It was
if
a
I'm going to be
precursor,
honest, because a lot of the topics that were discussed on GNX kind of very similar to what happened in the rap beef. Also, whenever the Carter 6 drops, I really do not want to see a battle between Lil Wayne and Kendrick, because that would suck.
I mean, yeah. I just, compared to other modern hip-hop/rap albums, like, obviously there's GNX, there's The Death of Slim Shady, there's
Drake diss #1.
Alligator.
His newest album is dog shit.
Wait, which one was?
Some Sexy Songs for You by Drake and Party Next Door.
I am, you're cutting in and out, by the way.
You may notice he says that a lot, but you can't fucking hear me! And if you're one of the Drake fans that forgot about the allegations because Some Sexy Songs for You dropped, you're an awful person.
Yeah, compared to other hip-hop/rap albums that have come out, like Drake's new album, Death of Slim Shady, Alligator Bites Never Heal, it's like top of the line. So is Death of Slim Shady and Alligator Bites. Like, it's up there with those two albums as my top hip-hop for 2024.
Honestly, understandable. Because I kind of do like both of those albums.
I'd put it above. It was my favorite rap album of the year.
Honestly, I forgot what I said here. We lost a ton of footage going from this to the next clip.
GNX
I'm sorry.
And Hollywood's Bleeding. They both had these major events with them. For GNX, it's the Super Bowl, and for Hollywood's Bleeding, it is Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Both of which I've watched multiple times. And I see a lot of people hating on the Super Bowl show for GNX.
Not deserved at all.
Don't understand why. And I think it's just because he performed Not Like Us, which was heavily controversial. But
yes.
Like, it's a good album and the songs were amazing.
Yeah. And also the Super Bowl halftime performance dealt a lot with a lot of what Kendrick, in my eyes, kind of writes about, and that's being an African American man in the United States of America and how people treat you and how awful everything, quite awful, how people treat you, being an African American man, which is not deserved. I will be one of the many people that say that it is not deserved, and it's awful. But GNX, definitely, yes, great album. Glad he performed a lot of the songs off there. Would have been funny if he performed some songs off To Pimp a Butterfly, since Donald Trump was also there.
And that entire album was just a huge roast session on him, from what I gathered.
Yeah, that and a little, some of the songs off Damn also did this thing that Pimp a Butterfly did, and that's talk a little bit about how Donald Trump is, and not necessarily a great president, but we'll avoid politics for now.
I hope he sees this.
Economic state of the world. Yeah, Donald Trump.
If you're watching, understand,
we're only making jokes. We're only making jokes. We're
just making jokes. But
if we're gonna pick between
golf.
Huh? What?
I said we're just making jokes. Keep playing your golf. Keep your bow tie on, or whatever he wears.
Keep playing golf. Don't get shot. Anyways, GNX or Hollywood's Bleeding? Which one are we gonna go with? This is really hard.
Overall, I feel like GNX has had a greater effect on my life, but I can agree to go with Hollywood's Bleeding just because of how the Spider-Verse saga has made me feel. Especially with the second movie, there's like a kind of love story in there between Gwen and Miles.
Yeah.
So it's up to you. I'm a helpless romantic.
I want to. Hollywood's Bleeding has such a special place in my heart. All of my top 5 albums do, but GNX is also just such a great album. I want to go Hollywood's Bleeding just because of how impactful it was on my life. If that's cool with you.
Yeah, that's perfect because it also came out in a much better time of like my life. The 2020s have not been kind. And 2019 was
just like a great year for music.
Exactly. It was just a great year overall.
I mean, we got this album, we got Igor, we got Skillet drop Victorious,
Lover.
Motionless in White drop Disguise, Lover. A lot of great albums coming out of this year.
Yeah.
All right.
Eric Church, I think, dropped Heart and Soul. Like, maybe that might have been 2022.
I'm not sure. But now we're moving on to our next set, Forever or the Marshall Mathers LP.
Okay, I feel like I have to get the big names of the Marshall Mathers LP out of the way. Stan, The Real Slim Shady.
Stan, Real Slim Shady.
Can you pull up the track list? Kim, that song is heavily debated because of how violent it is.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, Sweet Jesus, is it well done in such a weird, just mess? Kill You, obviously.
I know. Kill You, yeah, that was a good one. See here.
Some of these we just can't bring up because of how dirty they are.
The Real Slim Shady, one of 1 billion views. Yeah, one of Eminem's biggest and best, not best songs, but
I think it's
songs,
up
depending
there.
on how you see it.
It's definitely up Cleaning Out My Closet. Like
Cleaning Out My Closet's really
Marshall Mathers. That song's more like a kind of ballady piece. If you haven't listened to the album, go listen to it. It is incredible.
You're talking about. I've listened to Eminem's entire discography, dude.
I have listened up to Revival, and then I kind of got stuck on listening to Like Home by him and Alicia Keys for like 50 times in a row.
I know.
Just because
Kamikaze is a good album.
Yeah. Do you want to scroll down a little more because I need to see like the end. Amityville was really good. Bitch Please 2 was really good because Snoop's a little bit on it. Is that the end of the album right there?
Criminal last song.
Criminal was really good.
Really good.
But I feel like in that context, to really hone why this is my favorite Eminem album, you have to see what it surrounds. Obviously, his first album, no one's really heard. No one pays attention to that.
Yeah.
But then there's the Slim Shady LP, which is what I really count as Eminem's first album. It had songs like My Name Is, and it had all of these really good songs. A Guilty Conscience, the original featuring Dr. Dre. Just everything about Eminem and Dr. Dre shines through in the first 3 albums. And I feel like the only thing that makes the big thing that makes this one shine through is that he really goes in depth about what the fame has done to him. It is his second big album before the Eminem Show. And like how Marshall Mathers, he says, I'm just Marshall Mathers. I'm not better than any of you, basically. And it's very intriguing because a lot of artists will take that fame and be like up here on their pedestal. But he's like, I'm just like you. I'm a fucked up human being. Especially after the Eminem Show came out, he was fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
And then he got his like best friend was murdered. And then he relapsed. And then he released Encore, which we all know was hell. Like there's it's decent. There are some decent songs. The first half I actually really enjoy. But then
I think it's fine.
After you get to like
after that, it's just
Ass Like That.
I kind of liked Ass Like That. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought it was weird. But then there's Like Toy Soldiers, which is one of his best songs ever. Like on one of his worst albums, one of his best songs. It's crazy. And then obviously
he took a Mockingbird.
Mockingbird, of course. But then you really got like, it goes to show that those 3 albums really meant a lot to a lot of people. And then we had Relapse, which looking back on it, it's not as bad as people said it was. The accents got a little boring near the end, I will say. But songs like Must Be the Ganja and all that, where it's like, it really is just him speaking about his relapse and how it fucked him up majorly.
Oh yeah.
And then we don't even have to say why Recovery is his best album by far.
Recovery.
It's not my favorite, but it is his best album. I actually had a conversation with my math teacher, who we will call Miss Retire. It was supposed to be retired. That's the name we'll give her, because Ben will know what that means, and
I know what that means. Yeah.
But that's going to be her nickname. So I was talking to my other friend, who will remain unnamed because I'm not gonna name drop anyone. And we sit next to each other, and I was like, "This is one of the greatest songs of all time," because I was listening to "Love the Way You Lie." And she said, "Oh, what song is that?" 'Cause she's big into music. And I was like, "It's by Eminem. I don't think you'll like it," because she's into like old country and all that, 'cause she's an older lady. And she gave me this look. And I was like, well, fuck, here we go. And then she kind of went on a tangent about how she used to like Rihanna. And then she made Love the Way You Lie. And she basically said that I needed to seek Jesus. Because I like... And she's like, it's so horrible what it's about. If anyone gets like joy from that, you need to seek Jesus. And I'm like, so I can't really look at that album the same because I feel fucked up. I feel really messed up for liking it. And then he released the Marshall Mathers LP 2. And that's the one I really want to look at when discussing the original Marshall Mathers LP. It's supposed to be a sequel, but it doesn't have the same effect as the original. Songs like Rap God and The Monster and a couple others really have this profound effect on you after listening. But then there's other songs that just do not hit the same. And Frey, sequel, trying to live up to one of the greatest albums of the rap hip hop world, if not the best, other than like Recovery and maybe even like 50 Cent and all that. Like, it's so profound and such a great album, especially when you just like translate it to current day, where rap has really dulled down its edge, like, which is partially a good thing, because there were things that definitely should not have been said on this album, like the entirety of Kim having like a physical altercation in front of your baby and just saying she's not gonna wake up, and just like beating the shit out of your wife. It's a little fucked up. But like,
I think that's probably why I do like this.
You lost volume, or you lost voice. You're gonna have to get like
I like this mic is usually good. I don't know what's going on. Like, but yeah, I like this album. Don't get me wrong, really good album. But I just like other Eminem albums better, and I think that's probably why, because of Kim and a bunch, maybe some other songs like that. But it's just Kim, come on.
Yeah, I will say I think Kim is the weakest on the album. And it's just because like he really went for shock value with it. And the story it tells and the rapping is very well done. But I mean, other than Love the Way You Lie, where that's like obviously talking about domestic violence, and it's trying to tell it in a way where it's like he knows it's bad, but it feels good. In this, he's just saying it, and it's acting like it's good, which obviously is not the point he was trying to get across with the song. But still, it just feels that way.
Yeah.
But I feel like every other song is at least A tier, if not top S tier, up there with like, yeah. And then there's Ken Kniff, which we definitely cannot play.
Can't play that. A lot of these skits are honestly definitely got better.
Yeah, you might want to like actually just hold that thing in, because it's cutting out still. You may want to like, I don't know. But also,
maybe get some like duct tape or something.
Kill You and Stan are such a great way to start the album with how
I know, yeah.
Stan is like about the stalker and this guy who's like obsessive, and I think we've all had that person who kind of obsesses over us. I definitely have that person who will remain nameless. But I just like it. The impact of the album, what it did for the rap community, and how it really just it shined through. And there was a lot of big rappers, 50 Cent, Snoop, like big names, and it just shined through. And it took a spin on rap, obviously, because other rap artists, like I have a friend who wanted to be a rapper, and I don't think he does anymore, and he has a lot of issues. But he was always like, I am a white guy. How will people think of me about this? It's like, you shouldn't be looked on differently. Because Eminem did the same thing, and he is so successful, and everything, all of his albums, like, sold really well, even though people hate Recovery. Or, not Recovery, Revival.
Relapse. Oh,
Revival.
Yeah, Revival too, yeah.
People hate Revival, because it's a very political album.
It's not that bad.
I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, I think we really needed that. We needed something political.
We really did. Especially with the air, and it really does translate well today. And so, yeah, that's one of those things. But and if you want to talk about your album, go straight ahead.
Oh yeah, Forever by Bon Jovi. What can I say?
I rambled.
Mathers LP. No, you're good. We need that. Not by those guys, but great song on a peak Wayne, peak Kanye, peak Eminem, young Drake.
Drake was never peak.
That song. Drake was never good, but when he was young, he wasn't that bad. Like Take Care isn't a bad album. Anyways, Forever by Bon Jovi. I don't know if other Bon Jovi fans like this as much as I do, but holy, the vibes, the sound, the feelings on this album. Like, come on, my guy. Starting it off immediately with Legendary was a great decision. Then going into We Made It Look Easy. Oh my gosh, dude. These are definitely some of the best, well-written tracks. Seeds, the ending of Seeds is just beautiful and majestic. And let's see. Oh, The People's House is a good song as well. Walls of Jericho might be my favorite. I Wrote You a Song. This album, like I said earlier, really does feel like John Bon Jovi and everybody in the band is taking a look back on their past, back whenever Slippery When Wet, 7800 Fahrenheit, self-titled, all those albums were starting to come out, as well as across their entire life, and just reflecting on it and being like, yeah, this was a great time, great life for us, but we've definitely left a legacy, and it's something that we can be proud of.
Yeah.
And like, I gotta play for you one of these songs, but I can't pick which one. Legendary. Like, just a little.
We're gonna be sued by the entire music industry for this.
We're gonna be sued, but it doesn't matter.
It's fine. We'll argue that
this is music for the people.
Yeah.
Now, I will say something about this. Yeah, Bon Jovi's gotten very, not very, very old, but he's definitely not in his prime like he used to be.
No.
Because Slippery When Wet, self-titled, all that was great. And then about the time These Days came out, Bon Jovi started having voice problems, and just everything wasn't really going that well for him. So his voice has definitely changed a lot, because obviously, like, You Give Love a Bad Name and other songs like Runaway, where he's like,
that was so high, the microphone didn't even pick it up. But so all they're gonna see is you going like,
damn, I was hitting it though. But yeah. Obviously, as you heard just now with Legendary,
Editor Ben here to say Bon Jovi's voice.
It's not suffered. It's not as good as it used to.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a problem that a lot of people have with Bon Jovi. 2020 is a not highly regarded album by them. Same with This House Is Not For Sale. But I love those albums. But just the production quality and all the lyrics and stuff. I understand why people may not like this, but God, this is beautiful, beautiful album. So we got to pick. You got to pick. This is tough.
Overall, we do have to take just everything about these albums, and I feel like Forever really has the place of like looking back on it, whereas the Marshall Mathers LP almost has like a looking forward type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like with Marshall Mathers, like, I'm just me. I'm famous and I'm gonna stay being famous, but I'm just me. I'm not better than you.
Because I am whatever you say I am type shit.
Exactly. And yeah.
If we're gonna pick, I'd be okay with the Marshall Mathers LP.
Yeah, I think it should be that one just because of how
it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We are gonna go with the Marshall Mathers LP over Forever. All right. Now we're gonna go up here. We're gonna do some speed rounds. Maybe not play some songs, but we got Back in Black or Evermore.
Didn't we already do this?
Evermore moved up as compared to Crack Rear View. So
right. Okay.
And this one it had a buy round. So.
Oh, okay. I've already talked about Evermore, but I feel like just a few things I didn't quite bring up. If you want to pull up the set list or the track list for Evermore, because there are a few songs that I do forget are on Evermore, not because they're bad songs, just because of how they are. Right now, I'm on those 3 songs, 4, 5, and 6: "'Tis the Damn Season," "Tolerate It," and "Nobody No Crime." "Nobody No Crime" was my most listened song of 2024, and it is about murdering someone. Yeah. The entire song is about murdering someone. So it goes to show she can do like the dark, gritty, but kind of comedic at the same time, just really well. And "Tolerate It" and "'Tis the Damn Season" are beautiful. Like, "Tolerate It" is just about a relationship that's falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
And "'Tis the Damn Season" is the closest thing to a Christmas song outside of her Christmas album, which I haven't listened to, actually.
Me neither.
But it shows what the range of what she can do on an album. And how it can kind of be slightly darkly comedic when you're talking about murdering your best friend's ex-husband after he murdered her. So, it's completely fictional. Don't go after Taylor Swift. She didn't murder anyone.
No murder.
But
no murders in this building.
But yeah, that's all else I have to say.
All right. And Back in Black?
Back in Black is a hell of an album. Like, pull up this track obviously list. There's Back in Black, there's Hell's Bells, there's You Shook Me All Night Long, there's
What Do You Do for Money, Honey?
What Do You Do for Money, Honey? Give the Dog a Bone. Like, just so many classics for just rock and AC/DC.
I know.
And like those songs, I don't listen to a lot of rock. I have made that very clear. But Hell's Bells, You Shook Me All Night Long, and Back in Black are all on my playlist.
All absolute icons of rock and AC/DC. Just phenomenal, just great.
They're just incredibly done songs, and the entire album just has this feel to it. It has this energy that I think Evermore doesn't have. It doesn't have that energy. So putting these two against each other does feel a little weird because they're so really different. Weird. But overall, I think Evermore is more effective in getting that feeling that it's trying to evoke out of me. But Back in Black just has this epicness to it that I would honestly choose it over Evermore.
That is crazy.
I think again,
Taylor Swift's not even going to make it to the final round.
The Swifties are coming at me.
They're coming after you, dude.
But I also feel like I might not have chosen her best album. I should have put Speak Now in its place, but I've been on an Evermore midnight kick right now. So I feel like
valid.
If I had to go best of all time, I would not have chosen those two. I would have chosen Speak Now and probably Red. Because Red is just it's a Goliath of an album.
It's a long album. It's good though.
30
really
freaking songs. And
one
of them is 10 minutes long.
I know.
But I feel like Back in Black it has that air to it. And
it does.
It's unexplainable. Whereas Evermore, you can explain how it makes you feel. And also some of her weaker songs are on it. Like Happiness and Closure are my two least favorite Taylor Swift songs, which I love them still. I think they're great songs. It's just they aren't my vibe whenever I'm looking for Taylor Swift. They're too they're out there, which I don't mind. And that's some people's jam, but like the beats are out there and they just aren't really my thing. Yeah. On to the next round, because we are really making this a speed round. Oh, wait. Is it going to be the Marshall Mathers LP versus
either Mayhem or Awake? Either Mayhem or Awake. We'll see. So, we've talked about these albums. These albums, not bad. I personally...
I don't think I've talked about Mayhem yet. I don't think I've gotten to.
No, we did. It went as... Oh, no, we haven't talked about Oh, my bad. I was thinking of Midnights.
Can you pull up the track list? Because this is another one of those ones where I'm going to have to really... just a little background on the album. It's called Mayhem because every song is like each song has almost a different genre.
Yeah.
Like, there's Abracadabra, which is like the big single of the album. And it's like this huge, almost rave-like song. Like, it's the like upbeat, like put your hands in the air type music. And then there's songs like Garden of Eden, which are kind of like still like that, but they're a little more toned down.
Definitely, yeah.
It's just talking to someone. And then there's How Bad Do You Want Me, which goes completely in the other direction.
Yeah, complete other direction.
And it's more of a Taylor Swift-esque song. It's chaotic. That's what the album is going for, because it's mayhem. A lot of this, and then there's Killa, featuring Geseffelstein, I think is how you say it. Don't come at me if that's not how you say it. There's a lot of "Don't Come at Me," and it's because I might be pronouncing this wrong. And I would, but which is more like, again, kind of low key. It's like low key while still holding the energy. This album has an energy about it that I cannot shake. And every song on it is good, if not great. And I don't know. It is the perfect Lady Gaga album since her old stuff.
I personally don't think that it's perfect, but it's definitely a return to form that Lady Gaga needed, because previously with some of her other stuffs and some of her publicity stunts, it hasn't been great. No. It hasn't been great for her since her big break in the 2010s. But this was definitely a return to form that she needed. But it doesn't, to me, it just doesn't hit the same as old Gaga, you know?
Like, I mean, nothing will hit like Judas or Paparazzi or Poker Face, which, didn't know this. The phrase fuck her face got onto the radio because no one was able to understand that she was not saying poker face.
Yes.
They thought she said poker face, poker face.
Poker face.
But then they turned it, but she actually said fuck her face, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. That is funny.
And then just the underground stuff, Applause. It's definitely not perfect. I shouldn't have used the word perfect. It is it's a return to form that really shines with how Lady Gaga with songs like Paparazzi and Applause, where she's like, this is the fame of being as big as I am. And unlike how Taylor Swift does it, I feel like this is where Lady Gaga almost comes short compared to her. She's saying she lives for the applause, which I understand completely. Living to just feel the attention and feeling like someone loves you.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way that's like saying you live for just that and not your art. I don't know if that's meant to be implied or if it was just because she was younger and she was almost naive. Which that might very well be it. Or I could just be missing the meaning of the song entirely. But it's a very interesting dynamic of saying, like, I live. Or it could just be saying, I live for the fans, which is amazing.
That would be great if that's what it meant.
And it just, that's up for interpretation. So I think Mayhem is just it's a hell of an album with a stacked deck of songs. And again, the other songs I didn't mention, like trying to pull up the thing because I actually cannot see the picture. Dude, I just want to read some of them off. Zombie Boy.
That we got Zombie Boy. Love Drug.
Love
How about You Want Me? The Beast. Blade of Grass.
Blade of Grass.
Die with a Smile.
Really good. Oh, right. How could I forget Die with a Smile? It won Best Duo Performance at the Grammys.
Best Duo.
Or Best Feature Performance or something. Like, really good, lines, deep song.
Well deserved. Very good.
And
it may or may not have been written about Attack on Titan, but that's up for
I don't think it was.
I feel like it is, because
I actually have not watched Attack on Titan. I have not watched a single episode.
You gotta get on Attack on Titan, dude. Like,
is there like 1,000 episodes, or is that One Piece?
It's 4 seasons, but season 4 is broken up into like different sections, and the last 2 episodes are like 2 hours long.
Jesus. Okay, I might give it a shot. But
yeah, it's worth it.
The album is just
Mayhem,
epic.
Yeah, I would say that the album is good, but it ain't got shit on Awake.
I can bend to it being Awake.
Like,
because I know Mayhem is not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah, Mayhem's not everyone's cup of tea. Awake is just all of that awesome rock, awesome Christian rock, and just so much great stuff with it.
Yeah.
And like, again, this album also does that thing that I love so much about Cracked Rearview. Starts off heavy and hard and fast, goes to slow. And Lucy is one of the greatest final songs ever on an album. But
yeah, give it to Awake. Honestly, I can agree.
Give it to Awake. Okay, bet. Alrighty. Now, we're going to get up to these two, I believe. Yes, we are. We got Back in Black or Hollywood's Bleeding.
I'd give it to Back in Black just because it's AC/DC.
That's crazy. What?
I love AC/DC and I love Post Malone.
You know,
but I feel like Hollywood's Bleeding is not his best album. The most, like, I have songs from a lot of different of his albums. I have songs from F1 Trillion. I have songs from Beer Bongs and Bentleys. I have songs from Hollywood's Bleeding, etc. But Back in Black, I have so many Back in Black songs in my playlist. Like, compared to how many of the songs that I enjoy from Hollywood's Bleeding, which I haven't listened to the full thing, just sat down. Maybe I should.
That's going to be on our list of albums that we need to listen to.
Yes. Okay. But I feel like you should have a higher hand in this, and you can choose more. I just prefer Back in Black.
There's no I don't think there's any higher hand in this. Both of these happen to be from my top 5. But geez, this is hard. This is hard. I like Back in Black, and I love Hollywood's Bleeding. It's just the versatility of Hollywood's Bleeding makes me want to give it to Hollywood's Bleeding.
All right, yeah.
Because Back in Black, it's a good album. Don't get me wrong. Back in Black is a great album, but like a lot of great tracks. But Hollywood's Bleeding has a lot more of that versatility that honestly I love and need. So I'm going to go with that if that's cool.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Perfect.
And then,
all right, now we're getting into A real heated conversation coming up, probably.
Hard.
Awake with the Marshall Mathers LP.
Because I am again, I love Eminem. If Taylor Swift didn't exist, Eminem would be my favorite musician. And I should have put short and sweet somewhere on my list. Just so I could talk about Juno. We'll also have a conversation about some just alternate song or albums and stuff. But yeah. So the Marshall Mathers LP, I've already talked so much about it. And it doesn't quite do the same thing Awake does. Can you please stay charging, phone? Oh my, I'm going to cut you with a knife.
Cracking my neck. I thought you were telling me to stop.
Stop doing crack, Ben.
Stop the crack.
Stop the crack. He's not on crack. Do not take that seriously. Ben is not on crack.
Peter, what are you doing? Crack. What the fuck? At least I'm not drinking, Brian.
Yeah, at least. So I feel like that actually kind of does go into the Marshall Mathers LP. With his drug abuse and stuff before, in his life, he's been on huge drinking, drugs, and all that. And the vulnerability. I feel like one of those things that that Eminem does really well is feeling vulnerable in his music. Every album has that song where he's vulnerable. The Marshall Mathers is the one for the Marshall Mathers LP. But most recently, he did Temporary and Guilty Conscience 2. And Somebody Save Me. Which were both his, really just going into everything that's happened. And then he has songs like Mockingbird and other songs about Haley, where he just really shows how much he has suffered, almost. And how messed up he is. But I also do have to give Awake the credit that Skillet is such a mainstay. And it has to be, I don't know numbers for this, but I guarantee it has probably sold more than the Marshall Mathers LP. Maybe? Do you think?
I honestly wouldn't say so, because the Marshall Mathers LP is definitely... Well, both of them were kind of mainstream for that era of rock and that era of hip hop.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a lot more people during the Marshall Mathers LP era that wanted more of hip hop as compared to rock, which is unfortunate because so many good rock albums came from the 2000s and a lot of the 90s as well. But you got to give it to the 2000s hip hop for literally carrying a lot of the industry. And then when the stock markets crashed, and then when the stock markets crashed and everything started going to shit, it was definitely there for a lot of people. A lot of more people tried doing hip hop and pop as well, but you gotta just hand it to hip hop at that time for being that thing everybody can come to. So honestly, I'd be okay with giving the Marshall Mathers LP to it.
All right.
Marshall Mathers LP.
I say we do this so we can really debate for our last.
Yes, a true debate.
Fully debate. We each have one. I really should have put Short and Sweet on my list somewhere.
That would have been crazy. All right. We got last one. Hollywood's Bleeding. For the Marshall Mathers LP. Where do we even start?
I have no idea. These are both hip hop albums, technically.
Both technically hip hop albums. Yeah.
Two of the biggest hip hop artists of all time. Especially recently with Post Malone's F1 Trillion, and what did he release before that one? I can't remember which one that was.
I had some help. Wait, Austin.
Okay. And then he has
that album. I'm just gonna say Austin. I like Austin a lot, but a lot of other people don't. So it may just be because I'm a suck up for Post Malone, but
yeah.
But
he released things like Beer Bongs and Bentleys, and which were much more straight hip hop, if I understand that correctly.
Yes.
When compared to Hollywood's Bleeding, I really think that the Marshall Mathers LP, it's that straight hip hop feel. It's that literally 2000 hip hop feel
and it has features from Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, and it has everything that I feel hip hop should be. Except maybe it's missing some 50 Cent. I think this is one of the albums where 50 Cent wasn't on it. I know the glazing is crazy, so, yeah. But I mean, it's 50 Cent. He's badass.
Okay. 50 Cent is great. He's one of the greatest hip hop artists from the 2000s. Get Rich or Die Trying, obviously, one of the best albums from that era, I will admit.
And this can really go toe to toe with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whereas I feel like some newer Eminem couldn't go toe to toe with it just because, like, it's changed a lot.
For sure.
And songs like Kill Shot really, which I think came out around the same time as Hollywood's Bleeding, actually. Both came out like what? Yeah, 2018. So, yeah. Kill Shot really just was taking shots at MGK. MGK, I know you're not watching this. Fuck you.
Fuck you, MGK.
Like, you know it's bad when Eminem is calling you a Satanist. Like, bro really obviously he said he's the rap devil because Eminem is the rap god, and he's implying that the devil is better than the god. Which, we're not going to get into religion on this, because that's even more, that's just too much to get into, especially for our first episode, Jesus.
We'll probably save it for another day.
If we ever.
If we ever.
But there's the whole, just Kill Shot and all that. It feels like it had the vibes of the Marshall Mathers LP, where he did not give a fuck what he said. He just went off. And Stan specifically, I feel like really goes in depth about the music industry as a whole, where there's creepy people. There are fucked up people who really just do weird shit.
For sure.
And Stan really goes deep into that with, like, we should be together. I have a tattoo of your name across my chest. I have a whole room dedicated to you, basically a shrine. And I'm going to kill myself because you do not give me this attention. It's very in line with the Scream 5 debate of if toxic fandom exists. And I don't know if anyone's seen Scream 5, but to Jack Quaid, thank you for being such a badass. Just in everything you're in, you're awesome. He's never going to see this. But
you never know, he could.
You never know. Jack Quaid might be a huge podcast nerd. I love you. If you ever see this, like, I'm not dropping my phone number. That'd be scary.
My heart goes out to you.
My heart goes out to you. Properly. I'll do it properly. Not the bad way.
Not the Musk way.
Yeah. My heart goes out to you. But that got unnecessarily political.
That's crazy.
It's just toxic fandom. That's what Stan is about. How there are these weird people who take everything way too far and end up driving off a bridge with his girlfriend in the trunk.
Yeah.
And I just think it is a humbling song to listen to when you're a huge super fan of someone, where it's like, you do weird shit. Like, I will admit, I have DM'd Taylor Swift on Instagram. I have. And it wasn't anything weird. It was not anything weird. I literally just DM'd her and was like, dude, I fucking loved your surprise set from, like, one of her shows. Like, I freaking love you. You're freaking awesome. And that's like
understandable.
I did do it on a dare. I feel like I should also say I didn't just choose to do it.
Okay.
I did it on a dare.
You did that on your own free will.
But, like, I still did it. I could have declined, but I was like, there are more embarrassing things they could make me do right now. I'm choosing that. And
that can't be as bad. I sent Miles a beat. I literally sent Miles a beat on Instagram.
Yeah.
And he never got back with me.
And I feel like it wasn't anything toxic or bad. And then I was also dared to DM Sabrina Carpenter, but I just made that one purely goofy rather than being serious. But like in a way she gets DMs every day from people she doesn't know. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what Stan goes over, how like this guy basically is stalking him and saying all this fucked up shit. And it really had a lasting impact. Like, my mom likes Stan. She hates rap. But she likes that song.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
It's
Stan is a good song. Very good song. One of the best off that album. And like you said, very introspective to the industry and everything that, like, crazy fans and dealing with all that. Yeah. Very, very insightful on just in general music.
Is there anything else you want to add to Hollywood's Bleeding?
Oh, man. Hollywood's Bleeding. Like, dude, I cannot get enough of Hollywood's Bleeding because, like I said, it's so versatile. Like, you can listen to it at any time and just there's always a song from that album for every instance, every single thing that you may be going through. There is an album for that. It may not be as introspective as the Marshall Mathers album, but it's just got this feel to it that feels like you're listening to a movie being made. Like you're listening to the soundtrack of like several different movies because it's about Hollywood. But
which is a very fucked up place. Like,
very fucked up.
If you think the music industry is fucked up, dial that to 11. Let's get some Spinal Tap reference in here. Like, it's bad.
Crazy.
Because there's people like the W's. I'm not even going to say their full name because they don't deserve it. There's the two W brothers. There's horrible people in Hollywood who unfortunately they're terrible people.
Terrible, awful people. Yeah.
And they just, like,
it's just, man, this is really tough because, like, and also the feature list on Hollywood's Bleeding for 2019, absolutely stacked. You mean you got DaBaby, you got SZA, you got Travis Scott, you got Meek Mill and DaBaby, the Lil Baby, not DaBaby. You got Sway Lee, obviously.
Yeah.
And you got Young Thug, all of which in 2019 were on an absolute run, like doing absolutely great. Though I will say the Young Thug is probably the weakest feature on the album, but it's still really good.
Yeah. And then the Marshall Mathers LP likewise has some. It has Dido, and I feel like I normally wouldn't take live performances into account, but Stan, I'm going back to Stan, the live performance with Elton John, and everything that came out of that is so awesome. Like the fact that Eminem said obviously he's always been very adamant about his political beliefs, and the fact that he's all for gay rights and trans rights and all that, which I love, and I feel like that's amazing. It's just some of the things he said in his songs. He has said the F word a lot, but him and Elton John, like Elton John even spoke up for him, like, that's what people were doing in the industry at that time. Mm-hmm. That was normal because it was not a very inclusive time. So Gen Z going back and like hating on him for it, it was normal at the time. Not saying it's okay.
Yeah.
Because
it's definitely not okay, but that was just a normal thing at the time.
And and Elton John obviously just being a total G. Being like, Eminem has gone on record saying they are still good friends.
They are.
And
you know,
of course, their wedding
diamond encrusted cock rings.
The diamond made, like, how expensive? I don't know how expensive cock rings or sex toys are because I'm
I wouldn't know either.
Abstinent not by choice though.
Girl ever.
Yeah, I'm abstinent but not by choice. Girls, hit me up. Do not actually. I'm not posting any of my socials. Do not hit me up. I will sue. No, I won't. But like how he like diamond encrusted like, one, a cock ring is bigger than a normal hand ring. Like, think of like probably what 5-6 times the size of that for like a small one. Like, they're big, and if they are diamond encrusted, that's got to be at least like 10 grand per. And then he got matching ones for him and his husband, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
And just the fact that that song really just bloomed a bunch of memes. Like, that is where I aspire to be one day. A diamond encrusted cock ring.
You want to be a diamond encrusted cock ring? No, that's crazy.
No, I want to own one. Not be one. The fuck? Yes, I want to be a cock ring. I want to be an inanimate object that men put around their dicks.
That would be so fucking funny.
All right. I like that.
It's coming down to decision time.
I am, but
coming down to the wire.
I'll let you say yours first.
Oh, man, it's hard. I feel like the Marshall Mathers LP definitely has more influence on the industry and more influence on just rap as an entirety. Hollywood's Bleeding has more influence on me, but in the grand scheme of things, like, I think I'm going to have to give it to the Marshall Mathers LP.
I agree, but I will say the one thing that the Marshall Mathers LP did not have was a big tie-in to a huge event. His feature with Elton John happened multiple years after the song came out, I think. Like 2 years or something after. So. And by that time, he had already released the Eminem show. And if Lose Yourself was on the Marshall Mathers LP, it would have that huge tie-in to a movie, because Lose Yourself was made for 8 Mile. But I will say that is the one thing the Marshall Mathers LP is lacking, because I also don't know if the real Slim Shady was in anything at that time. Because his lyrics were extreme. Extreme. But I will agree with you that Marshall Mathers LP should get the crown.
All right. We have the crown has been placed upon the Marshall Mathers LP. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, this has been fun. This was fun.
That's been fun. Closing thoughts, and then I have one more thing for after this. Closing thoughts on this little thing.
Closing thoughts on this? Oh, man. I mean, I'm a little butthurt that Cracked Review didn't even make it past the first round. But honestly, it was understandable, because if it had made it past, it probably would not have been as insightful of a conversation that we've had with a lot of these tracks. The last final round, if Cracked Review made it, I'd just be there like, yeah, but it's not Cracked Rearview. That's the only thing.
Exactly, because it's so personal.
I know, it's so personal. But
honestly, I love the Marshall Mathers LP, but it's not that personal to me because I have never had a wife and I have never beat up my wife. Because I don't have one, or husband. But like,
I know.
I haven't gone through drugs. I haven't. My name is not Slim Shady. I'm not that fucked up. Well, I'm not outwardly that fucked up. You don't want to see inside here. It's scary.
In some way.
Yeah. My pancreas is fucked up.
Everything about a lot of people is fucked up. But I'm really glad that we were able to have insightful conversations about a lot of the stuff that we love. And honestly, that's really what I want this podcast to be. Just two dudes just chilling out and just talking about things that mean a lot to them. Just talking.
I'd say
it's a great time.
My idea is that at the end, this idea to toss out to our audience and you. At the end of the episode, we give a little teaser for what we're going to be talking about in the next one. And I think my idea for the next episode is upcoming video games and upcoming launches. Because Hollow Knight Silksong got announced that it is officially coming out in 2025. I think middle to late 2025.
I think so, yeah.
Which
I think so.
I'm a huge fan of the first game, which I'm really just going full nerd rant mode, but it is. Yeah, so I think next episode we should talk about some upcoming releases and some just very personal things, and like just anything video game related, video game movies that are coming out soon, upcoming video games, and we will definitely be talking about the Minecraft movie. And
Chicken
maybe
Jockey.
Chicken Jockey.
Chicken Jockey.
I went and saw it earlier today. And maybe
I need to see it.
Since our next episode will be in person. Yeah, for sure. So is this where we are cutting our
this is where we're gonna end it here, folks.
Are we dropping the beat?
We are in fact dropping the beat. Beat has been dropped.
There you go.
Wait.
I slapped my Crayola colored pencils.
We're gonna do it in unison to end it off. 3, 2, 1.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you guys very much. Goodbye.